Welcome again to another episode of Infusion Now. We're joined today with, I'm Mark Keys. This is Fred Freed here with Infusion Ministries. And Fred heads up our small group and our spiritual formations. Big title there, Fred. And Fred, we're here just to really hear about his journey, his life, his ministry. And I've known Fred, it's been, 4 years?
4 years, yeah.
4 years now. Mm-hmm. Wow, time is moving. And but I want to get to that eventually to talk more about kind of how you and I connected there at your church where you are, because I do interact with a lot of ministers, youth pastors, and pastors. But Fred, tell us a little bit about kind of your journey. I mean, I love to sit down personally, and I know our viewers just kind of hear kind of who you are and your journey with kind of your life, your background, your call to ministry, but even back way before that, because there's a story there.
There's
you always
several.
A lot of times when we're talking in our staff meetings and when you're teaching, you always kind of go back to a story, of your childhood or your family, your mom and dad, that kind of thing. So kind of fill us in. I'm from the Deep South, as I was sharing earlier, but you're not.
I'm not.
So no. Who's Fred? Where did things begin?
Well, I grew up in a Christian home, and I'm grateful for that. Very thankful for the heritage that I have. And when I was a kid, we lived in New Jersey, and then when we moved to Tennessee, I was about 12 years old, and at that point, I wanted to make some changes in who I was and who other people perceived me to be. And I made some very conscious decisions to make some definite changes in my life and who I was. And that took me down a road of rebellion, actually, to be honest.
After age 12.
Yeah. In my teenage years, I was a believer. I'd prayed to receive Christ at 9, and I believe that's when the Lord came and really took residence in my heart, in my soul. But I chose a road of rebellion in my teenage years, and it got pretty messy. I went pretty far off the rails for several years.
You made the comment, because I think it's important. Your dad, a Christian home, but your dad. Tell us about your dad. Your dad was in counseling for years, right?
He was for years,
okay.
Yes. And actually was in the nursing field and the psych nursing, dealing with the whole person,
right?
The mind and everything. And then over time, he just kind of went into the area of counseling, opened his own practice, and was very successful. And still at 88 years old, is still doing it.
That's great. That's 80. Great.
So. My dad has a background in counseling, and he tried a lot of it on me. Some didn't take. But and just grateful for that. And there's more to that story later on in ministry. When I would run into situations, because I don't have a counseling background, I don't have any educational training in counseling. It all came the hard way. Came in the prayer closet, came just by being on my face before the Lord and saying, God, you're going to have to give me something here because I don't know what to do. And the Lord would just, speak and show me. And so that was my background. But anyway, I would often call my dad and say, here's what's going on. What do I do? What do I say?
He was there.
He was there for me.
So, and a lot of parents can either you got to figure this out, but your dad was right there with you.
He was.
Patient, praying through those things, your mom and your dad, walking you through that. And so as a teenager, you mentioned, we get the idea of the whole rebellion thing, but what is it, or when did you kind of hit that wall?
When I hit the wall, it was after high school, and I stayed out of school for a year. But then I was actually with a youth choir from Florida. I was on a tour with them. I was playing my horn. I was a trombone player. And
that's right.
I was playing my horn with them and had a swimming accident. Drowned in a lake in Georgia.
Oh, wow.
And going down. And I knew going down that this was God's way of getting my attention. I had a very significant feeling, even going under several times and just sucking in a lot of water. I knew that the Lord was after my heart. This was the Lord's pursuit of me. So that was and there's more to that story. I'll share it another time. But that was the the turning point for me. That was okay. The Lord has spared my life, and I want to walk with the Lord. And I saw Him do some very powerful things as a result of that. Just a miraculous healing from pneumonia later that night.
Oh wow!
And just very powerful things like that really just turned my heart to the Lord.
All of us, the way we're wired, and a lot of our viewers listening can go to those moments where you had to hit that wall.
Yeah.
And you talk about a potential drowning there, that really life-threatening, that gets your attention. And you were what, 18, 19?
I was 19.
Yeah. And so now you also talk a lot about, with that, you did a lot of stunt work. I know that probably opens up a whole lot of things, but see, that's a big deal. Because, not everybody can say, hey, I was into stunt work. I was a stunt man, right? And so, but is that right?
I had a dream. I had a goal as a teenager of being a stunt man, yeah. And so I learned to do a lot of the things that stunt men do. And I was rolling down stairs, and I was jumping off of stuff, and I was, getting hit with stuff. And I learned how learned how to get hit by a car. And so I was getting hit by cars, and I was jumping out of moving cars, and not really. I'm paying for it now with several surgeries and a lot of aches and pains. But that was a goal, a dream of mine.
Yeah. So you like that body didn't play football, but you did play hockey.
I played ice hockey. I loved the physical contact.
So it's all about the physical, And even later on in ministry, still talking about that physical contact. You tried to play football with teenagers, and that didn't go well.
Well, it went well, except for a couple of times, and so as the Lord called me into ministry, and I was doing youth and music ministry combinations, and I just loved being with teenagers.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of kids still in me, still is, but I really enjoyed just the interaction, and did play a lot of football with teenagers, blew out a couple of knees, and
blew out a couple of knees. Yeah, just got over that and went on. Yeah. Wow. So 19, the Lord got your attention. Did that really do it? Or did you have to go through some more layers to get your attention?
No, that really was the thing. And I knew deep in my heart that I need to walk with the Lord. I can't live this life of rebellion for a long time. I knew that I needed to repent and walk with the Lord. And so I knew that was coming, but then the swimming accident happened, and then I went to college at Southwest Baptist University in Missouri.
Okay.
And it was just in an atmosphere that was spiritually rich and deep, and I had some roommates that really walked with me through a lot of stuff, and some dear friends that helped me process what I had experienced and what I had been involved in for the last several years, because you don't just leave all that junk behind and close the door on it. I had to process. I had to repent of many things, and I had to renounce things, and I had to learn how to navigate in this new world of really walking with the Lord, and wanted to be Spirit-filled, wanted to be Christ-like, and how do I do that? And so it was a couple of years of really processing how to walk away from that and learn just a different way of living.
Yeah. That's the whole journey, when we do say, I want to follow the Lord now. But then that's great and that's needed.
Right.
But then we go through maybe the college experience. It was like, okay, and how do I walk this out? I don't want to return to my old things. But man, it was unique. And what got my attention there was how you had people that walked you through it.
Oh man, yeah.
They walked you through that. They helped you get through that. And man, I can think about that in my own college experience as well. Is people that came alongside you and they just kind of walked with you, not preaching. Not saying, hey, do this, but just kind of walked you through those things.
And helped me. They kind of set the bar. They set the standard. And I'm watching them, and they're modeling the Christ life and so I'm watching them, and I'm watching how they respond to things,
Sure.
and so yeah.
Wow.
That was significant.
That's great. And that was in Missouri.
It was in Missouri.
Missouri, yeah. And whole time then, so your kind of your home base is in Nashville.
Yes, my home was Nashville.
Okay.
And my family was still there. And when I was in high school, I had dated a girl, Connie, who's now my wife, a lovely wife. And she and I had dated, and then we kind of got back together. We started talking again as friends,
Yeah.
and then we realized, maybe I more so than her at first, that boy, there's still a flame there.
There's still something there. Wow.
And so but the Lord brought us back together, and we ended up getting married. And so I moved back. I moved back from Missouri to not to Nashville, but Connie and I, when we got married, we moved to Cookeville and finished our college days there at Tennessee Tech.
Wow. Well, our time has moved quickly, but I know there's more there. And I want to get into hearing more about the whole ministry, call to ministry, because we've talked about a situation at 19. You kind of got out of the rebellion life. You began to walk with God, but we know you're in ministry now, so there's obviously something happened there to really, I'm called to ministry. The Lord did something, but I want to hear about that. Let's look at that as we look at the next episode here. And so thank you for joining us today as I've been meeting with Fred Freed, hearing about his life. And thank you. Come join us again, and may the Lord bless you, keep you, and make his face shine upon you.